Hi, this is Chris, and it's 10:20. Yes, 20 after the hour. We got some Metallica coming up for you. Some Metallica Enter Sandman. I just want to do that all the time.
Sounds good.
Hey guys, it's Chris. I'm back with James from Daily Sports Trivia, and this is going to be this week's Q&A for episode 7, The Broken Man, and I'm sure a lot of speculation for episode 8 and beyond. So, spoiler warning.
Right into things here, and this question is from Takoa.
Oh Lord,
you know Takoa?
I know Takoa.
Okay, Takoa says Q&A. Do you think that the killers of the Hounds group were actually members of the Brotherhood, or do you think that they are bandits pretending to be the Brotherhood?
No, he's recently been added to Bacall's Views with his new gaming channel. So,
oh, this is oh yeah, I saw
that's
your video.
That's Big Jade in there. So what's up, man? Anyway,
I like the video.
I think it probably will be. I mean, I don't really know. In the books, these guys are not cold-blooded murderers, and it could be another group, and maybe there's a splinter group or something like that. You know, you had the Septon hanged, and this is going to be a common question, I'm sure, as we get into this, is Lady Stoneheart. So I think with the Septon being hanged, I think it was probably an Easter egg or a shout out to her, but I don't see her coming to the show. Apparently that was Lemoncloak, though, on the horse there that came up to the Septon and the group.
Is a member of the Brotherhood?
Yeah, in the books he is a member of the Brotherhood, and it does change a little bit in the books. When Lady Stoneheart takes over, they do get vengeance and stuff like that on people associated with the Red Wedding phrase. Anybody that knew anything about it, they do hang everybody in that sense, but they don't go around and just take out villages for no reason. So I don't really know, honestly. It seems like they implied it was the Brotherhood, and we're supposed to see them again apparently, and even apparently Thoros of Myr, but he actually left the Brotherhood in the books as well because he didn't like that they were all about revenge once Lady Stoneheart took over, but when Beric was part of it, they were all about justice. So he actually left the group. So it seems like they're going to be just murderers because now the Hound's going after him. He knew exactly who they were. It's been speculated for the last 3 or 4 years that she'd show up since, Catelyn died. But yeah, she died in season 3, right? So in the book, she was found 3 days later. They threw her body in a river, and Beric gave her the kiss of life and revived her, and she took over the Brotherhood since Beric had to give his life for hers, life, death pays for life thing. So I don't see that happening only because of the time, and apparently they've now said that there's only going to be 13 episodes after season 6 remaining, total. So in other words, season 7 is going to be probably 6 or 7 episodes. They're going to split it in half. I just don't see them introducing too many more new storylines to wrap up. So
wow.
Anyway,
so if that's the case, then all these episodes are going to be kick-ass because they got a lot of shit to do.
Well, they need to be, but the odd thing is, with that being said, as far as the remaining episodes, they're all short this year. All of them are 45 minutes or 40 minutes, and it's supposed to be, the last couple are supposed to be over an hour, or at least the episode 10, from my understanding, well over an hour, and the longest one they've ever done. But it makes no sense for to have all these short episodes with 10 or 15 minutes missing, but yet they're going to skip, making entire episodes the next couple seasons. So we'll see.
Next question. Chad King says, Q&A. What's up, brother? I love your channel and go Panthers. This is for your Q&A. Why do you think that Benjen told Bran to drink the rabbit's blood? Is it a nature thing because of the weirwood?
It's kind of another nod to the books, I think. In the books, Bran, when he's learning to, have these visions and what have you, they give him a bowl of paste that looks like a bloody paste. It was after Jojen kind of disappeared, so we don't know if Jojen's actually died in the books, but people call this Jojen paste because they tell Bran that blood helps him awaken his abilities faster. So I think it was more of a kind of a nod to the books and perhaps the Jojen paste thing.
That sounds like it.
And if you notice, remember in Blood Raven's cave, you have bones everywhere, human bones and giant bones and animals of all kinds. So it's implied that blood feeds these trees, these weirwood trees. That's implied in several other chapters. I mentioned the Brienne chapter last week where she killed a couple guys, and it specifically said under a weirwood tree, and there was no other reason to put that in there if it didn't have something to do with how these trees work. So I think it was just a shout out to that, and perhaps that's what's going to help kick him into overdrive because he said he wasn't ready to become the Three-Eyed Crow. So
I think you're all over it. It sounds right. It sounds logical.
We'll see.
Next question. Jason Pusey says, question for your Q&A. The Hound is pissed. Do you think Arya will run into Theon and Asha and that they will save her and help her get to Westeros? Also, what the fuck? 62 men from House Mormont?
Right, yeah, that seems a little low. They're making this severely one-sided here with the Northern Army. It's basically the size of Stannis' army now, who marched down to Winterfell with no horses, although they'll have a few horses, I'm assuming, from some of these northern houses, and Stannis got slaughtered. So they're making this one-sided on purpose because I think the Vale is going to show up at just the right time. That was the letter that Sansa wrote to Littlefinger, I believe. I think they're setting Arya up to get help from somebody. I don't know, that could be Theon and Asha, but they stopped off in Volantis, so I don't see them going to Bravos because that's the opposite direction.
And she needs help fast.
Right, and they're not there. They're not even close. I mean, they do have magical Star Trek teleporters, but that would be the wrong direction if they're headed to Slaver's Bay.
Okay.
So I do see her getting some help. I'm been thinking it may be like a Red Priest somehow to tie into the whole, Red God Azor Ahai stuff or something like that, because in the books I had mentioned last week, there's a character called Nakoro who heals Victarion's hand. And it looks all burnt and shit, but he heals him and saves his life.
Yes, since we're already on it, and there's just a million questions, guys, about Arya, and is it, is she the waif? Is this
split personalities, Fight Club style?
A lot of questions. So I didn't pick any of those, but I did. Once we get her name up here, may as well throw it out there what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, I went back and watched that scene again. I didn't see anything that really indicated that it wasn't her. I tried to look at, she was in different clothes. I can see her, possibly trying to set the waif up in some way, or even Jaqen having a test for the waif like we had said last week. I do think that's a part of it. I think he knows she's a jealous asshole, and I think that, there's definitely something to the whole testing the waif thing too, because if you're no one, you shouldn't care about, the next faithless assassin, right? Or have personal feelings against her, this vendetta she has. So
some people were saying it was Jaqen, right? That Arya was Jaqen.
Some people were saying that they believe it's Jaqen because he owed her a life from a previous season, and he doesn't, because she saved him and Biter and Rorg were going to the Wall. They were in the King's Landing dungeons, and she saved them from fire essentially by letting them out of the cage that they were in. When they got to Harrenhal, Jaqen said, "Hey, I owe you 3 lives," but she named off 2 people and then named Jaqen as the 3rd. And he said, "A man cannot kill himself, please unname me." So she did, but then she said, "I want to get the hell up out of here. I need you to kill the guards." And he said, "That's more than 1, but he ended up doing it anyway." So he did pay her actually 4 or 5 lives, or however many it was, because he killed 2 or 3 guards for them to escape that night. So he don't owe her a life as far as that whole thing goes with the 3 that happened in an earlier season. So I just don't see Jaqen taking a knife for her. There's no reason for that, even if it is a test for the waif. I just don't see that. Why would he take a knife for her and then roll off, and then they show her getting out of the canal?
That's the point you brought up to me that I thought.
Yeah, because if you would think that if it was going to be some big twist, which I'm not saying there's not going to be a twist, but if you would think if it was going to be a twist, as in that was not Arya getting stabbed because she
fallen in the water, and that would have been
it should have been a cliffhanger. Right. It should have immediately went over to the Hound and finished that piece up, and we should have seen her getting out of the water, holding her stomach and bleeding out through the streets and being all scared of every face she saw.
Yeah.
That to me is what made me think it was actually her.
But you do agree that prior to getting stabbed, she wasn't acting like herself?
It was odd. Because we had just saw her in the previous episode, blowing out the candle. She had needles. She had different clothes on. She had the clothes on like when she was selling oysters, clams, and cockles, right?
Yeah, she was.
And she changed clothes. Actually, she kind of looked like Ned from season 1 with the little leather. It was just not leather. It was just a cloth thing, but it looked almost like his northern vest. So she changed clothes. She's kind of strutting around with her hands behind her back, which was odd. And so it was definitely something odd about it. People would point out that she had been left-handed in every episode, but she threw the money to the sailor with the right hand. I don't really think that means anything. I mean, that doesn't, she wasn't sword fighting, so it just happened to be what she used. But it was odd that she's strutting around out in public like that with no needle or nothing. But then again, in the books, people don't carry swords around in Bravos like that unless you're playing a fight. So I don't know. I can see it as some kind of setup, but I just don't see how that's working with her actually getting stabbed. If that was a setup, it didn't work. We do see her in the next episode. As far as the teaser, we know she's going to do this parkour stuff, basically free running as they have their big fight. But I think the waif thinks she's dead. She looked pretty satisfied to me. She looked over and saw the blood in the water and all that, and she was like, pulling her shirt down like I did it, made her suffer, felt all proud of herself. But then we know she looks surprised in the next episode from the screenshots, like, oh shit, she's alive, like she sees Arya or whatever. And we see her hand getting dragged across the wall in the trailer. I just got a feeling it's setting up for her to get help from somebody quickly. And it's got to happen fast, right?
Got
Or
to.
she's running out of time. She's bleeding out. I mean, that's not just, that was a 6X knife.
Here's the weird thing for me. All right, if it was her, and she really did get stabbed, and she does get help, it's got to be magical. Otherwise, she can't be jumping and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, that's the idea. She's got these abdominal wounds, and she's bleeding out, and you can't do parkour when you're. It's not a Band-Aid. So it's not going to work.
Your theory about her meeting the Red Priest or whatever, and using some kind of magic.
I think it's either that. I saw some other commenters that I'd mentioned as well, possibly her even going back to the House of Black and White and drinking the magic Kool-Aid.
Okay.
Which is where they, when somebody comes to die, it acts as a poison. It didn't affect Arya, it gave her sight back, the same water from the same little trough.
Shit.
So perhaps she goes back and Jaqen helps her before going back out to find the waif.
I'm going to bet money on that theory.
So she could just drink the magic Kool-Aid and heal right up, and Jaqen's on kind of her side, and the way Jaqen will realize the way she stabbed her wasn't, a quick death would have been cutting her throat.
Yeah,
because
he told her that. That's
right. Don't let her suffer.
Yeah.
So he'll realize, you know what? She wanted her to suffer. She's failed. So he'll in turn help her. Here, drink this, child, and go do your duty. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's just a possibility.
Okay. Next question from Monotom. Q&A. If Sansa's letter really was to Lord Creepy Pervert, do you think he will truly come through for them? And if so, how horrible would his repayment be? He does nothing without figuring out his take in it and how he can manipulate every situation and everyone.
Yeah, I think he will come through for her. He does kind of love her in a weird, creepy way, like he did her mother. But at the same time, he wants the North too. He wants everything, like he said before. I think. I mean, we don't really know his full end game yet. He obviously is oblivious to the real threat. He's still trying to acquire power, like he always has. So he needs her for the North in his eyes. So I think he'll come through. But that is his end game, I'm sure, to take something from her.
Oh yeah,
or rule through her somehow, right? So I think he'll end up probably trying to either marry her himself or have somebody that he's controlling marry her. So he's essentially the Lord through the Lord or something to that effect, just like he did everywhere else. So yeah, he's in it for power. Because he's going to fuck him. He ain't going to kill him.
Good point. Oh, let's see. Isuba Steva.
There you go.
What up, Chris? Q&A.
What's up?
Do you think the show is setting up the Mountain to become a hero, seeing as he saved both Stark girls? Not saying Clegane Bowl. I just don't see how he can progress to fighting his brother this late in the season.
Oh, he means the Hound becoming a hero, I assume. Yeah, because
I believe that's what it means too.
Yeah, it has to be. So yeah, the Hound helped Arya out and helped. They ended up becoming pretty good friends actually before she went over to Bravos, and he helped Sansa by rescuing her for some rapists during a thing that went down at King's Landing, and then offered to take her with him when he left King's Landing because he said fuck the king. So that was some of the best stuff in the show with him and Arya though.
It looks like he's being set up to become a hero.
Yeah. His arc has been really cool because you start off and he's this violent guy. He's not really an evil character, but he don't give a shit. He just follows orders. He's basically just like his name implies, the Hound. He is Joffrey's dog. He rode down the butcher's boy, and that was the whole thing in season 1 with Ned saying, "You rode down the butcher's boy," and it's like he ran, but not fast enough.
Yes.
So he's kind of an asshole. But he has this great redemption arc. He realizes, that he's fueled by hate of his brother from the whole story about how he got burnt in the first place. And I would be fine with, at least in the books, where he's on this quiet isle, with him just staying there and living out a peaceful life. Now, we just got to that point in the show, a little bit different version of it, basically the same thing. And they come and slaughter this, this innocent group of villagers or what have you. And the whole point of this is he's trying his best to escape this world of violence and whatever, and he can't. He just can't fucking do it. He can't get away from it.
He thought he was getting ready to.
He thought he was going to live his days out and help this group of people and become a normal kind of guy and wash all his sins away and whatever, and he just couldn't escape it. But they didn't go out of their way either in the show to make him such a pacifist that he doesn't realize self-defense and stuff like that too. So I do think he's a hero in a way, or maybe an anti-hero, because again, it depends on your perspective. He's going to now go slaughter the Brotherhood, apparently, or whoever this ends up being. Is that justice? Is it vengeance? So he's still riding that line, I think. But yeah, overall, I think it's a great arc.
I do too.
And like I said, I'm as far as Clegane Bowl, I know that was mentioned as well. I would love to see that in a way, but I don't know how they can get there from this point in the show. He's not far from King's Landing, but he's got to get back to King's Landing and pretty damn quick if this trial is going to even happen with Cersei. And Cersei's got the mountain, which is now a Franken Mountain, Sir Robert Strong. He's even stronger, I believe, than he was before. And he's lame. Obviously, he can still carry a damn tree, though, so he's not too bad off. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see how in the show they're going to get him even knowing about what's going on in King's Landing. And if the High Sparrow would name him as a champion of the faith,